Sell in May and go away. But are we talking about gold, or are we talking about something that has nothing to do with gold? I feel like it's probably one of those two. So if you're active in the markets, you've probably heard the adage, sell in May and go away. And that refers to the underperformance of the stock market between May and October. Now, if you ignore what happened in 2020, and I think there was another year in there, it's probably 2008, it's more or less accurate. And the market has historically given about twice the returns in the other 6 months as compared to May through October. Now, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If that was a reliable cycle, then everybody would trade against it, and that would cause the trend to disappear. But there's a little bit of truth to the market strength being down in this period. So what does that mean for gold? Well, historically speaking, again, January is typically the cheapest time to buy gold. I'm going to say that again, January, that's the cheapest time. You usually see another hit in late March, early April, but then prices climb through the end of the year. So we are in the cheapest point of the year, or the second cheapest part of the year right now, if we only look backwards through time. And again, if you could use historical data to predict the future, you'd be rich. We'd all be rich. There are probably reasons, though, that lead to that pattern. So if we just gave into that for a minute, well, sell in May and go away would be about the last thing that you'd ever want to do in gold. Just like with anything else, I cannot tell you what's coming up, but I can say that if you believe the sell in May theory for the stock market, don't get that confused with the gold market, since the prices actually tend to take off in late July. They rocket up through October. And there are, of course, all kinds of factors in play this year that aren't typical. But if we're watching prices lately and we feel like maybe they should be doing better, well, some of that is historically normalized. And if you're buying gold, you want to be buying when prices are low. I don't really know anyone who wants to pay more for gold, but they are out there. If you were to ask any precious metals dealer when they sell the most gold, well, it's always when prices are high, but we don't want to pay more. We'll let the others get sucked into that fear of missing out that kicks in when prices are shooting up. If you're trying to plan, though, if you're being logical, you'd probably plan to buy when prices are at the seasonal lows. And again, that's where we are right now. This topic is not about predicting prices. Something can come up at any point that would send the price of gold either direction. If the conflict in Eastern Europe cleared up in August, that would be pretty significant downward pressure on the price of gold, because there is a little bit of that conflict tax on gold right now. And that would just be one example. And that would go against seasonality depending on when it hit. If inflation dropped significantly in August, I guess that would be another one. But those are situations that are even harder to predict than seasonal patterns. So you might use this maybe as a single point of reference for planning when to buy, or maybe even just consider this if you hear somebody say to sell in May and go away when they're talking about gold. Now, I've seen a few people write it in the comments recently, and that's about the opposite of what you'd normally do. It's a clear case of somebody hearing something, but probably not fully understanding what it meant. Now, personally, I can tell you that almost all of my heavy additional purchases over the last, 13 years that I've been buying, they have been in January or March. And that's completely anecdotal, but I buy more when prices drop. And I can see that both in the charts and in my ledger of when I bought. It's happened so often that when I see people suggest that May through October is a bad time to be buying gold, I'm going to immediately challenge it. So what you're looking at right here is a quick chart from the LBMA to show the average annual gold price from 1975 through 2021. I think that it's pretty telling. Like I mentioned earlier, you see that it's low in January, you see that it's low in March and April, and then it goes up from there. I think that's pretty telling. So we can keep this one short. It's a pretty straightforward idea, but let us know in the comments if you base any of your purchases on seasonality. I'm sure there are reasons that people will give. Maybe you're in the fields or on the lake or something that isn't price related that makes sense. But I don't think that there's anything that makes sense based on price. Again, especially if you're looking at history. So let us know what you think. And then while you're in the comments, be sure to hit the like button. If you found any of this interesting, Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to see more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.